Now, back to your friends, Don and Gino.
HD cameras. We have Furman with AP Productions running the board, making us look good, and he's got a lot of work on Gino and I. Shannon running the board. That's right, our producer. And we'd love you to join us by going to donandgino.com. You can check out our cool dude in the studio making us look good. And Mr. Elgin Walker with the Elgin Pilar Walker team at Keller Williams VIP Properties, one of our guest experts on a regular basis for a reason, because he just tells it like it is, but he tells it a lot cooler than I do.
Don't you think that has something to do with him being an authenticity coach?
Yeah, whatever that is.
Right? How many of those are there?
I know.
Not too many people out there are authentic, I guess.
Actually, yeah. Well, let's not get distracted, because I know we'll start talking real estate again and not get a chance to pump up your book. And I know you're not here for that, but we are.
Well, thank you.
Because it's really cool for you to reach out and try to help more people and really, I mean, you've done now a second volume.
Yes.
And I'm going to let you describe the book's name, because it's unique, but it says it like it is. And I love titles that just tell you what you're actually writing about.
Well, yes, the title of the book is How to Keep a Positive Mindset with Challenges on the Table. In Volume 1, we released late 2013, December-ish. And Volume 2 will be out here within the next 30 days. And in a nutshell, we all have the same issues, both positive and negative. It's just the way we choose to deal with them. And I like to talk to people about, like, what's your big why? What is it that keeps you going? Particularly in a business like ours. You know, a business that is pretty much feast or famine. You know, you get the deal, you get the job done, you get a check, or you don't.
Right.
And yeah, what keeps you moving? And I know everybody talks about goals and
you don't get a salary?
No. I can't even spell salary. I think I call it salad. But,
I was going to say, at least if he ends up with some celery at the end, you're all right.
Absolutely. So, you know, it was one of those things where, and not only in writing the book, or books now are not just on, say, real estate as far as how to produce, but they're more for anyone that is looking to really, really have that positive attitude and hopefully add some value and propel you forward into whatever it is you're trying to do in your life. So I've had some network marketers, some insurance people, even some car dealership people talk to me a little bit about the book and speaking to them, you know, about and some of their sales forces, which is a very humbling experience, very humbling.
Well, yeah, you know, I really like it.
So well.
Well, that's I've got this quote here that says, "Remember, no matter what you're going through in life, it's just temporary condition, and things always change, and it's truly a great life."
No, absolutely.
That's what Elgin always is saying. I love it, though. It's good stuff.
Well, yeah,
so,
you know,
you walk the walk.
Well, thank you. I try. Yeah, it's funny though when you write books, you do this. Like, it was funny. I actually put the book on an audio. And I am actually narrating the book myself, so it's my own voice. So I always listen to motivational stuff, particularly in the morning when I'm lead generating. So I popped in my own, which is weird, to pop in your own CD and listening to yourself.
Not too many people can say that.
No, I'm listening to myself tell me, you know, that I should have a positive attitude. It's like, okay.
But isn't that great? I mean, that ultimately, you know, sometimes when you're having a good day, maybe you should take the time to record something like that so that when you're having a bad day, you can listen to the good days and go, you know what, it's going to be all right.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, one of the things Don and I talked about, and I'm sure you...
Get you a bobblehead that says it.
that we encounter this all the time in our business is that even when we do everything right, sometimes things go wrong.
Absolutely.
And there are
Not
things
in the real estate business. In the lending business. Are you kidding me? That could never happen.
Yeah. And so, you know, that's the frustrating part is when you do everything right, when you didn't do anything wrong, but something happens, it's demoralizing.
Yes.
You know, it's just demoralizing because you want your clients to have an amazing experience. And it's unfortunate that sometimes things come up because there's so many different parties involved in making the transaction work that sometimes egos or personalities or things like that stand in the way of reaching the ultimate goal.
I thoroughly agree because there are an awful lot of hands that go into a transaction being successful. And I often say in some of the talks that I do, as a realtor, we may have the biggest ego in the transaction, But the truth of the matter is once the transaction is put together, that we're the least important part of it. The meat and potatoes of the deal are the escrow, the title, and the lenders. That's the meat and potatoes. We may be the people out in front. We may be the people that someone will remember both positively or negatively, but the fact of the matter remains that the engine in those cases are the affiliated services that really make the deal.
Well, I got a perfect analogy that you'll appreciate, because as a manager now, and you're a mentor and a coach and a speaker and author, I often say to my crew as we're dealing with these situations, and now after 26 years, and let's say you get numb to it, you just learn how to be professional about it and keep your calm, because you know that's the only way you're going to be able to handle these situations professionally and efficiently. And when my loan officers come to me and they're like, oh my gosh, it's going crazy, and we're going to lose the deal, and they get a little emotional about it, I always tell them to take a beat. And this is where how you become a true professional. This is why the difference between a general practitioner and a surgeon. The general practitioner, when the clamp comes off the vein and blood squirting everywhere, they panic. The surgeon just calmly grabs it and reclamps it and says, everything's calm, I got this under control. That's what you want. That's what a true professional can do. They stay calm on your behalf, because our clients are going to get emotional. They're emotional about this home that they have fallen in love with, and they want this home. It's our job to stay calm and handle the situation. That's what great professionals like you and your positive mental outlook helps our clients. And that's what you really are paying for, is to have a true professional behind you as a surgeon to help you through these challenging times if they arise.
That's a great analogy, and you're absolutely right. Tell people all the time, don't get too high when it's going really good, and don't get too down when there are more challenges, because you do have to be the calming force in the transaction, and your clients are expecting you to be that calming force, because they are going to go and act as you go and act.
So you just mentioned something really important that we touched on a little bit earlier. It's they're expecting you to act on their behalf. That's part of choosing an agent, right? And Don touched on this a little while ago, that choosing the listing agent, it's not a horrible thing. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it can work out. But it's not the advantage that people think it is, because when everything works and everything works out, it's okay. The problem is when something goes awry and you don't have representation. So can you tell us a little bit about dual agency, pros and cons?
Absolutely. And I can speak from the standpoint that I am probably, quote unquote, a predominantly strong listing agent. And I get people that come to me all of the time, and they'll come to me and they'll say things like, oh, we understand now that it's better to go to the listing agent than to go to a buyer's agent. And even though they may be coming to me directly in that, I still like to correct them, because there's the possibility that A, it might not work out on the house that they're looking at that's mine, and they're going to need representation, and I'm hopefully going to earn that business from them. But also they need to understand it's not so much that you have to go to a listing agent, but that you just have to be with a working agent. That in the market, even when the inventory may be a little bit lower, all that means is that the agent that's representing you may have to do a few things differently to help you find a home, like your networking, like things that you're doing that you as a consumer won't see. And in addition to that, needless to say that when you go directly to the listing agent has been hired by the seller. So the listing agent has a fiduciary responsibility to that seller. That does not mean that he cannot be fair, but you have to understand of whom has hired them and what their actual goal is. Now, I try to walk a fine line with that, because I represent buyers of my own listings, for 30% of the time, which is high in the industry standard, but I've been doing that for 27 years. The point of the matter is, though, you do have to make sure that that buyer is getting their rights done as they should be per the contract, and they are getting their inspections done. They're getting the proper disclosures. They understand exactly what they're getting into. And, Gino, as you mentioned, when there is a hump in the deal, which inevitably there is, it's just a matter, is it a big hump or a little hump?
Right.
But there's going to be a hump. So you want to make sure as a buyer that you've got somebody on your side that is also protecting your interest. And that's very important.
It's great words from Elgin Walker with Elgin and Pilar Walker team at Keller Williams VIP Properties, just telling it like it is. And that was very honest of you to admit, because as a top listing agent, meaning you sell a lot of homes in town, you could easily say, just come to me, I'll handle it. But you're giving great education in the fact that everybody deserves and should look for representation that is on their behalf.
That is
if you're
correct.
representing the seller, you're really representing the seller.
Correct.
Now, you can be fair, and it does work out, as Gino said, but in a lot of cases, it's better to make sure you have the right representation. All right, we have one more segment left, Elgin. I want to make sure everybody's up to date on what's really happening in the real estate market.
Okay.
And why they need to talk to Elgin Walker.
I like that.
Okay. We're going to come back to the Don and Gino show.